Did OBS fail on me? Strange. We're still here. I think we're still here on the same stream. Are we still here on the same stream? Are we still here? OBS decided to do like a funky little weird thing on me, so let me share this live stream out. OBS decided to do this funky thing on me, so I don't know what that was about. Okay, so I've shared this live stream out. We are back. Yeah, OBS decided to just do some funky cutout. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully you guys are still being able to stream in 1080p 60 frames a second. Yeah, so yeah, there's just been thoughts on the P20. It's an okay Android. It's a good flagship phone. 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 I just don't think it's an outright complete package, and I've said it in many discussions before, and I think maybe just to sum it up, if it was me doing a review, you know, I would have probably done pretty much the same review as Aaron, Mr. Who's the Boss. I think there was nothing, and it's very rare that I would watch someone else's review and 100% agree with everything that they put in their review. And I think his one was a testament to that. You know, his one was a testament to that. Everything that he pretty much said in his review, I'd been discussing from prior live streams that I'd been doing on Instagram, and even the previous live streams that I did with the Tech and Chill Show on YouTube. You know, so I just don't think it's the complete package that I was maybe expecting it to be. I think the design has uniqueness that makes it unique to Huawei, but also lacks a bit of imagination and creativity. It seems functional, but then it also seems backwards at the same time. You know, I think naturally the fingerprint scanner should sit at the front of a display, but at the end of the day, where I challenge what Huawei are doing with their design is, I'm going to be looking at the front of the phone all the time. The OLED panel that they're using there, it's not actually all that great. The OLED panel doesn't get bright enough, and I used it very briefly. And the OLED panel, to me, to my perceived eye, doesn't get bright enough. And yeah, of course, you can always say that, you know, QHD doesn't matter, you know, all of that jazz and stuff. But at the end of the day, if it's a flagship phone and it's got a 1080p display, then the display is the same equivalence of a Galaxy A5 2017. The OnePlus 5T has a better display than the Huawei. And yes, the Huawei should feel more futuristic, but with the notch and the bottom chin, and the notch, if you watched Matthew Moniz's review today on the P20 and the P20 Pro, there's no good software optimization for it until when maybe Android P comes out. So currently the notch being there, it really causes more problems than actually anything else. So it just beggars belief. You know. But in terms of, we're just taking it chill tonight. But in terms of anyone else that's about, man, just, you know, drop a message, say hi, say hello, so I know that you're there. Don't be a stranger. Again, welcome to the Tech and Chill Show, Unplugged. I'm your host, Ben, on the Lover of Tech channel. We are out here, and it's been an absolute nightmare getting OBS to work so I could actually live stream, because audio was a problem, not picture. And if you want to see this in best quality, make sure you click the gear and select 1080p 60 frames a second and get the crispiest audio. Oh, I'm getting people that are coming on the live stream. Oh, Afrakama, what's up? It's saying long time. It's been a long time, girl. What's good, Sean? What's good, people? So yeah, the P20 innovates, but there's a lot of stuff they don't tell you, or it's not that they don't tell you, but they kind of shrug underneath. So Boko, wow. I think it's been a while, you know. I've not seen you in the comment section for a bit. It's good to see you on the live stream, man. I'll be doing live streams on a weekly, so I'm trying to find out what's the best time to do it. I'll probably be doing it like Saturday nights, because obviously most of my audience are either US or Asian based, so I'm just trying to see where I can catch my demographic for the live streams. It is a great phone. It is a great phone. I don't want to be too hard. The problem that we live in right now is the background music okay? How's the audio, the background music, the picture, how's everything? Is everything okay? The P20 is a great phone. It's a good phone, but it's not the all-round package that I thought it would be, right? It has a 1080p display that is comparable to a Galaxy A5 2017, right? The OnePlus 5T has a better display than what the P20. Background music is fine, perfect, we aced it. And hopefully you guys like the background music provided by Epidemic Sounds. Great, audio's awesome. You know, with a notch that literally has no software optimization, and it's causing more problems, especially in apps like Instagram and so many other places. It's not. The thing is, I haven't Android stud. Oh, nice, Android stud. Nice to have you in house. It's one of those things where the display, the notch, the bottom chin with the fingerprint scanner, they use the glass design, and because of how they did the finish on that glass design, especially with that twilight color, it looks really nice up until you touch it. If you think other glass phones are fingerprint magnet, you have no idea until you touch that P20 and P20 Pro. They are fingerprint magnets. They're really, really bad. And it's worse. It's worse than any glass phone that I've touched in a short space of time that I had it. It was not a good look at all. Hey man, so I ended up, tease, well done after our chat the other day, but now I'm looking for a good portrait lens. What would you suggest? And I am an Aussie, so we are watching from everywhere. Yeah, so well done for getting the Canon EOS 200D. It's a great first camera to get, especially if down the line you're going to be doing some form of video. Again, as a photography camera, the competition are better for the same price point, you know, but it's just, if you just want to future compatible yourself for video, yeah, 200D is good. I think you need to get Canon's 50mm prime lens, the f1.8. Obviously it's a prime lens, it's a higher quality glass, you can't zoom in and out, and you have to take into account the lens equivalence as well, because you're probably gonna, because of the crop factor of this of it being an APS-C sensor, you're gonna get 75mm, so there will be a crop. But get Canon's like starter kit lenses. Yeah, there's two of them, but yeah, get the portrait, get the f1.8 nifty 50mm lens for it, if that helps. Yeah, and another thing is, as much as the Kirin 970 processor is a powerful processor in itself, it almost in its own way feels like it's a generation behind, and it suffered that problem because you can see the video capabilities. It doesn't stabilize well. It doesn't really shoot good video. If you like in 4K, it doesn't shoot 4K 60. The 720p 960 frames a second is not really all that great. It's kind of soft. The 1080p image is soft. You get good stabilization in 1080p, but yeah, at 4K it's Shake City. The camera hardware on the P20 is innovative, especially that main camera. If I can, I don't even know how to show you. If you know the physical sensor size in there, right, is ridiculous. You know, the physical sensor size is ridiculous. Nice. I hope they don't make a T. Oh, don't make a T version. They'll 100% make a T version. The OnePlus 6 has been leaked, confirmed for 18th of May. That's a month earlier than the OnePlus 5 compared to last year. They're gonna make a T version. You know, why would they not make a T version? If they can, why not? They will make it. People will get annoyed, but people will still buy it. OnePlus knows that now. OnePlus has a cult following and has a fan base enough where people just will not resist buying their phone. They've almost become like their own mini Apple. OnePlus have almost become like their own mini Apple. So it's kind of the situation right now. They will make a T version. Don't expect anything less from how their track record has been to not make a 6T. They will. It makes it harder to buy their products, but they will do it. They will 100% do it. They will just capitalize on the fact that they will only release one flagship phone, and it's only one phone in their product line. But back to the P20, and I've said it, the P20 is probably one phone I'm so reluctant to get into the studio, and I don't know why, but I just think there is a big part of the phone that is not marketing hype, because if you understand how physical hardware is put together, how they've done the main camera is absolutely phenomenal. But the problem you find is there's things that they don't tell you. Jeez, what's good, Tom Tech Time? What's good, bro? Shout out to Tech Time in the house, Boston's finest. Yeah, you guys go check out Tech Time as well, man. He does some great reviews, great news updates, great reviews as well. Check out Tech Time. He's the other homie on the tech scene. What's up, people? Okay, what's up? Well, we've got 9 people on the stream, man. Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully the stream is nice. Let me know if the background, anyone that's joined, let me know if the audio from the mic is good, the background music is good, the image quality, all of that put together is good. We're just trying to keep it. I'm kind of chilling out tonight, man. It's been setting up the audio on this was a nightmare. But yeah, the P20 doesn't have optical image stabilization, so there's no OIS lens in there. It uses pixel binning and tetracell image process, because this is how really you're gonna get the best results from that camera in 10 megapixels default mode. It's almost like the same thing Sony were doing with their cameras, where the 23 megapixel sensors wasn't really doing anything for them. The optimal shooting experience was actually in 8 megapixels. It's the same as what they've done, because what they're effectively doing is they're using tetracell pixel technology or pixel binning, and they're mapping 41 pixels. So when your pixels are 1 micron pixel size, and sorry if I'm getting a bit technical and geeky, but basically at 40 megapixels, the pixel sizes are 1 microns, but at 10 megapixels, it becomes 2 microns. It's very reminiscent to what HTC were doing with the ultra pixel technology, right? So you're getting a faster shutter speed, you're getting better dynamic range, and you're getting a much more stable image quality there as well. You see, so they're doing that because it adds versatility, but because the sensor size is so big, to keep the sensor and the camera hump as slim as possible, right? They couldn't put an OIS module in there. Now they did for the telephoto zoom lens. The telephoto zoom lens is the one that is lower down, right? But I said it, production quality is crispy. I appreciate it, bro. No, it's fine. Your explanation is great. The problem that we all had as a sometimes it's like in a normal review you can't, it's not that you can't, but it's just you can't really get to the nitty-gritty of the tech. The problem that I think Huawei, and I think this is just the relationship that they've got with Leica. They've got this relationship with Leica where they have to deal with the monochromatic sensor. And I've said it, like, I respect monochromatic photography. I understand what the monochromatic sensor is doing, and I've said it before. Sorry again if we're having to repeat, but someone asked about the P20. What it's doing is capturing the true whites and the true blacks. That helps with dynamic range. I love your accent. Thank you. True representation of the whites and the blacks. It helps with dynamic range, right? It helps with the exposure. And then the fact that the monochromatic sensor is 20 megapixels, you're effectively getting more detail if you're able to fuse the image with the main RGB sensor. If you're able to do that and pull that off well, in theory, you're meant to really get a nice representation. And if you do just shoot with the monochromatic sense, it's a different stylistic look that you get with your image that you just don't get. But I just don't think people appreciate it enough compared to a black and white filter. And this is not me disrespecting monochromatic photography or photographers that shoot in monochrome and stylize their different types of photography in that, but I just don't think people appreciate the monochromatic sensor enough. Honestly, to God truth, why someone else isn't doing an ultra wide angle camera lens like LG is doing is beyond me. Don't get me wrong. I think to a certain extent, a telephoto zoom lens is equally as beneficial as a ultra wide angle focal length, right? They serve their purpose in different situations. I used to be part of that camp where I was like, oh, telephoto zooms are not useful. You only know that you only say that because maybe you've never used it before. But the minute you use a phone with a telephoto zoom lens, especially when Samsung innovated and put OIS in a telephoto zoom lens, it's a game changer. There's so many situations where I can't move closer that I can just punch in and zoom, right? But then at the same time, what would have been so hard for Huawei to have done an ultra wide camera angle lens, right? Your standard view and a telephoto, because their telephoto zoom lens at the minute is probably one of the best on the scene. It does ×3 optical, and it uses AI to do some hybrid ×5 zoom, which still maintains like a form of losslessness, which from all the images I've been seeing is absolutely phenomenal. That's what you want to know. Where is the triple camera? Yeah, bro, where is it? Huawei had the chance to, even if their hardware could have been the most versatile camera hardware, to the point where they have so much hardware to work with that so long as they added the software support over and over again, they could have genuinely had an unstoppable camera. Anyone that's been following me on Instagram, my daily Instagram post has been legit because of this Pixel 2. I still stand by it. I see no other value to the Pixel 2 compared to a Nexus 5 from 2013, minus how good this camera is for photography. Specifically photography, especially the selfie, specifically photography. If I'm talking about photos, video is a whole nother ball game. In terms of video, I actually think Apple with the iPhone 10, LG and Samsung probably do the best job when it comes to video on a smartphone. But photography right now, right, the Pixel is not a versatile camera, but it speaks volumes for the end result as a point and shoot. It doesn't give you granular control in terms of pro mode or a telephoto zoom lens, you know, but it's probably, and I hate to admit it because I think the phone is so dull, but it's probably the most consistent in the best point and shoot smartphone camera for photography. And I've had privilege, like, I've done a lot of ultimate camera tests that you've seen on the channel, right? And if I'm certifying it, I'm certifying it for me, knowing that that's how good it is. Not that no other smartphone can't take good pictures, but it's just what it is at the minute. They could have knocked it out of the park with that combo. Yeah, people overlook the monochromatic, so it's not a huge, it's not, unfortunately, it's not. You have to kind of like have an appreciation of some sort, sorry, for photography, you know, to understand how, that's just me. That's just me. So I'm sorry to Huawei. It is a good phone, it's a good flagship phone. I just think that phone lacks imagination, and as well as the camera hardware is equally as innovative as the dual aperture camera lens from Samsung, because people say that it's gimmick. It's not. It's hardware innovation. It's what they've been able to do in terms of a sensor size almost as big as a point and shoot sensor size from something like a Sony RX100. It's phenomenal. It's a 1/1.7 inch sensor. That's ridiculously big if you're considering the iPhone 10 has a 1/2.9 inch sensor. The Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus has a 1/2.3 inch sensor. If I don't quote me if I'm wrong, right? It's amazing they've been able to, like, the last phone I was able to have something of a sensor that big was from the Lumia 1020, but the Lumia 1020 had a fat sensor at the back. This is a very slim sensor, but a big one in a slim package, in a small package, if I can put it that way. So credit to how it's not an easy thing to push off, and people don't appreciate those things, right? But it's just, I just don't think their decision making and how they've rounded up that phone makes no sense. And I keep saying it, the true Huawei flagship is that Mate RS, the Porsche design Mate RS. There's no notch. It's got an embedded fingerprint scanner. It's got quad high definition 18.7:9 aspect ratio AMOLED display, right? You've got a fingerprint scanner at the back as well as facial recognition with no stupid notch. Yes, the notch is stupid. I don't agree with the notch. You won't get me to agree with the notch. The notch is not needed. And the use of glass at the back of the phone represents the ability to use wireless charging. Whether you think wireless charging is useful or not, whether you use it often or not, I don't have a wireless charger at home, but I find myself in so many different situations where it's nice when there's a wireless charger there that I can just sit on, bang, use it. I use it on my iPhone 10, I use it on my S9 Plus, and it's a convenience. And I can put up with that convenience knowing that the use of glass serves a purpose of a function, because glass is a fragile material. Glass is not a nice material because in terms of slipperiness, fingerprints, and the fact that it can shatter easy, you don't want to ideally use glass. You don't want to use glass, but if you're going to use it, give me wireless charging. Don't use it as a means of just pure aesthetics, and it doesn't really serve anything more than that when it's actually going to open up room for more. It just doesn't work for me, you know. So hold tight Huawei, as we will say in the UK, hold tight Huawei. It's a flagship phone. It is competitively priced accordingly, and the only reason why, instead of it in UK, for example, sorry, my flow just broke. Again, let me know if the music is too loud. If the music is not that loud, then enjoy the music while we're talking over. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry guys, sorry. OBS is being an absolute pain. Hopefully we're back. Hopefully we're back. Sorry. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry for the interruption. I even forgot what I was saying before. What was I saying before we got cut? What was I even saying before we got cut? Right, so yeah, I was talking about the pricing. So in the UK, the S9 Plus 128 gig is priced at 869. So it's priced at 869. Huawei P20 Pro is priced at 799. So basically £800. If you're looking at where it's priced, I think it is £150 too expensive. And the only reason why is because, especially in the UK, Huawei's marketing is very, very aggressive. They've become very aggressive to the point where, you see how in the US they're struggling even just to get a retailer, let alone a carrier or a network to sell their product. Nah, in the UK they do not have that problem. All 4 major carriers sell Huawei, and all the third-party retailers sell Huawei as well. They do not have that problem. Their marketing aggression in Europe and especially in UK is absolutely crazy. You see, so they don't have that problem. So I think they've marked it up. They've marked it up in a way where they're charging more to make up for that kind of, you know, marketing cost. I personally think the P20 Pro, in my opinion, is £150 too expensive for what you're getting from that phone. That's just my opinion. Maybe £150 is maybe too aggressive, but I think it's £100 too expensive for what that phone is offering as a complete package. It brings a unique feeling. It brings a unique feeling with how they've marketed it, but so that's my thoughts on the P20. I've got a Mate 10 Pro coming in. I've been wanting to test the Mate 10 Pro for a while now, do a couple of camera comparisons against, you know, the trifactor standards of the iPhone 10, the Pixel 2 and the S9 Plus. So yeah, I'm gonna work with that. Then I'm gonna see if I can really be bothered to get the P20 Pro in. I've got my S9 Plus review that I need to do with my S9, so I'm gonna do that review together. So I've started working on that. I'm gonna review the Pixel 2 because that was the reason for me getting it, that I wanted to actually give stock Android a chance and give my 2 cents and my verdict on it. And yeah, just whatever else is coming in the pipeline as per usual, I'll be doing that as well. Further topics. I didn't want to talk about this because I think enough people have talked about it, but the whole controversy with the iMac Pro not being repaired or being repaired thing is just, it's really stirred up like a crazy debate in the tech community at the minute. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it, because it's a different scale of a problem. It's a different scale of a problem, but you know, I own a pair of Beats X, and obviously, as people know, the Beats brand is obviously under Apple, and the Beats brand being under Apple, you know, my original Beats, they come with a 1-year warranty. Apple doesn't play fair. I don't know, you know. I think both sides have valid points. I think both sides have very, very valid points. I think like both sides, it's just a very, very tricky situation. I think it's just a very niche and a very isolated situation. I get where Apple's coming from, I get where Linus is coming from, and I'm not saying it as a cop-out, but I looked at it and it's very tricky. I don't think I don't think it's as straightforward as, oh, Apple should have just fixed it. It's hard. It's hard. I like Linus. Which one do I like better? That's a tough one. I'll probably say Marquez. I respect Linus more because his business model, how he's created his brand as a business, is phenomenal, and I think people don't give him enough credit for it because, you know, people would rather mock him for how he runs his channel as a business. But I think subconsciously he's the first tech YouTuber to really have showed the business potential of using YouTube as a platform. But I would probably say Marquez. I would say Marquez, MKBHD, because it's Marquez. He's a young dude. He's relatable. Most of us related to him from young. But funny enough, I was watching Linus because I was more into the PC scene. The PC hardware scene has been a longer established platform than the mobile tech scene. So when I look at guys like Elric from Tech with Tomorrow and guys like Linus Tech Tips, you know, Linus Sebastian from NCIX days, I was actually watching them way longer than I was watching MKBHD. So I probably like Marquez more because I can relate to him a bit better. But in terms of my respect level, I have more respect for Linus because guys like him, they are the true genesis of tech YouTube. They are the true genesis. They are the true beginning. They are the true pioneers of tech YouTube. And I think people just don't give them enough credit for it because, unfortunately, the PC hardware scene is in a very bad state at the minute because of cryptocurrency mining. And it's not because cryptocurrency mining is a bad thing. It's just, it's made PC hardware less accessible and less watchable in terms of that respect, you know. So it's just more people relate to Marquez just because of the facet of the mobile tech scene being so popular and being so much more accessible on a broader level. There's so many more manufacturers, you know, and yeah, I like them. I like both channels for different reasons. But if I'm gonna respect a channel more for my own personal reasons, it will definitely be Linus Tech Tips. All right. We are still live. Apologies for OBS. Again, this live stream is brought to you by my carrier, Vodafone UK. I'm actually using my S9 Plus to tether to make sure that I'm able to upstream because my home broadband connection is not great. So I use my 4G LTE, my 4G long-term evolution connection with my carrier to be able to upload and stream. So shout out to wireless carriers that give you good indoor connectivity. That is always something that I legit appreciate. So yeah, man, 35 minutes strong. Sorry for OBS cutting in and out. It's a bit of a pain and a learning curve, but thank you to all that are on the Tech and Chill show. Andrew Stud, man, appreciate it. And shout out to Rick Aqua as well, man. In your opinion, what's the best way to do speed tests for phones? I mean, like benchmark tests, phone buff style, or others like everything Apple Pro. Both are equally good. I think phone buff is great because it's condensed. He's found a way to do it in a condensed format so it's easier to watch. It's a 3-4 minute video and it gives you what you need to see in a snapshot. So I think he invented the speed testing kind of category, David Rahimi. Shout out to him, I really love his channel. But I think how everything Apple Pro does it is it's a longer video, so you see more of the stages on a granular level. So they are equally the same. Even Supersav does it. My buddy, you know, my buddy Tech Enthusiast as well. He's another small creator that does a lot of speed tests and comparisons like that. They're effectively the same thing. You know, the most important thing, it shows you how apps are optimized for how quickly they open and settle in, and RAM management. You know, when you recycle through apps all the time, how well is it holding it? How well is it communicating with the SSD or the UFS storage on the phone? Because what people look at processors, right? But your processor is broken up into different components. You've got your graphics processing unit, you've got your central processing unit, and then you also have to consider how it deals with like cache, C-A-C-H-E, cache or cache. You've got to see how it preloads app and recommunicates to the CPU and back and forth. Then you've got to consider like what type of memory is it using, you know, LP, DDR, you know, low powered double data rate generation 4 or 3, what kind of memory throughput. It's a complete package. And then you have to consider what type of flash are they using. Non-volatile, are they using non-volatile memory express? Are they using NVMe? Are they using UFS? What type of generation UFS are they using in terms of universal flash storage? All these things account for read and write speed. So all of that has to communicate and sync together. So all these things kind of give you an indication. And then on top of that, you have to think about your RAM buffer, right? Because this is the problem that the Android phones suffer with 4 gigs. And this is the problem that the iPhones suffer with 3 gigs. iPhones now have poor RAM management because iOS 11 is a RAM whore, right? And I cannot tell you how many times I get app reloads on my iPhone that it really gets on my nerves for a phone that price. And iOS has never ever been a phone that has ever had RAM management issue. Check every single speed test. It is like iPhones are just not good at RAM management. Apple made a big miscalculation. All it needed was 1 extra gig of RAM to not have all these poor RAM management issues. And that's just for me because I hammer away at this iPhone 10 and it hasn't got good RAM management. It really doesn't. Music provided by Epidemic Sounds. So if that answers your question in terms of Brian Underwood, if that answers your question, I think all of the methods of how they do speed test is not incorrect, it's not correct. It's just a preferred style of doing it, but they all tell the same story. How quickly an app opens up in terms of multiple, how it would run a certain task, from big to small apps, games, 4K edit, like it's a mix. And then also all those apps that you've opened, how well does it allow you to recycle between all of them, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's just the viewing style is a bit different. Linus reviews are more serious and in-depth than Marquez. I think Marquez does a good job with in-depth reviews. He does. I think Linus is more serious because they have a very rigid video structure. They have a daily upload regime. There's a team. There's a production team. So yeah, thanks for the help. No. Thanks for asking the question. There's a production team that they have that allows them to upload videos daily, so they have to have a scripted nature. But yeah, obviously what they do very well is, even though they have a scripted nature, their B-roll consists of a lot of the different Linus Tech Team's media people. So you see so many of the guys that are in the background, they're always involved in the B-roll, and it adds a nice refreshing touch when you're watching it, so it doesn't feel too systematic and too rigid. So I think they do a great job. I think they do a great job. I don't think people give them a hard time, but I don't think people credit them enough in terms of how they've built such a business model, because whoever works for that company, they're also living the dream of having a dream job, right? So I hope one day I meet Linus Sebastian. I think he's low-key, his business acumen is on point. His business acumen is on point. And this is not me saying it to try and get his attention. It's just not, you asked the question, so I'm just, you know, letting you know in terms of the differentiating factor between the different creators and how they go about their business and stuff. But yeah, I'm almost conflicted with the whole iMac Pro situation. I just don't think it's as straightforward as Apple should fix it. It's tough. It's tough. Both have good points. You know, I'm gonna skip over this topic because I don't even want to talk about it as if I'm trying to call out certain other creators. My job isn't to do that. I'm not in this to be doing that. What else has happened on the tech scene? Yes, Android chat. How do people feel about Android chat? I don't know if you guys watched The Verge's video on it. The Verge had a video on it. The Verge had a video on Android chat. Well, it's not called Android chat. It's going to be called Chat. Android's answer to iMessage. Android's answer to iMessage. Oh dear Lord, this has been long coming. This has been long coming. It's about time. I think Google have honestly made a big mess of the whole SMS chat system. They've made a complete mess of it. They've not handled it well. Duo was Allo was, yeah. So what are you expecting from this? I'm expecting good things. It looks good. It looks good mainly because of the fact that it's at a native level now. You will not have a choice but to use it. It's your default. The main messaging app is Pulse. Wait, better than Google. Yeah, no, that, you see, the thing is, it's fine. The main underlying problem is Android needs to have an iMessage competitor. We will be able to finally send high quality video. Exactly, man. Because you can't depend on multimedia, you know, messaging system. MMS is an old format and it's expensive, it's cumbersome, it's clunky. There isn't a way to really know who's read or like. The Verge did a very great video. I think the only worry is rich communication systems, the RCS isn't fully encrypted. And I don't want to be ignorant with what's happening with Facebook and data collection and stuff. The encryption side of things is going to be very difficult because Android is an open source platform, right? The total end-to-end encryption thing is going to be very, very difficult to pull off. But for me, it's the ease of the communication and having it as a native platform where all generations of the next Android phones that get the software update, right, will not have a choice once you sign into your Gmail and you use your Gmail account as your main account, right? It will link into making sure that chat, as it's called, will be your default SMS system for multimedia and also fall back to the old SMS system, right? I personally think iOS, when it comes to iMessage, I think iMessage is trash. I don't see the fascination of iMessage personally compared to WhatsApp. I don't find iOS with iMessage any more, I don't find it intuitive. I think the layout is boring. I don't think it offers anything dynamic compared to WhatsApp does, right? That's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's the way it forcefully makes you use it, I think is very clever, because I know all my family in America and Canada, right? I'm always communicating with them through iMessage. FaceTime is the same. I don't think FaceTime is anything special to write about. It's a very simplistic video servicing. I think Google's Duo is a better system in terms of video calling than, would you call it, FaceTime? But FaceTime is more popular because it integrates. It's the forceful integration that is not a bad thing, but it just works. We're going to be able to finally, I can't wait for chat, but it might be exclusive for Pixel, but it won't be. This, if they make it exclusive for Pixel phones, and Google already said it when they were doing a preview with the Verge, it's not an exclusive thing to the Pixel. It's gonna be the native Android app messenger system. So it's not gonna be exclusive. It needs to, it being an exclusive defeats the whole object. it just defeats the whole object, and they would have literally just lost again. You know, yeah, the encryption seems to be the only issue, but I'm not really stressing on that. I'm not, and this is not me saying I'm not stressing on it because of ignorance. It's just I'm not an enemy of the state. I'm not an enemy of the state, so I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about them. I'm more worried about them executing the usability and the user experience of the app and how it integrates. The integration needs to work properly. They need to integrate it. It doesn't, I had this discussion on Twitter. It's not about having the best app, right? It's not about having the best app, but it's making sure it's the most popular one that people would default to when they are not sure of what third-party app they want to use as a means of instant messaging, right? Where iMessage is beautiful is it's the de facto default standard of instant messaging. If you don't know what third-party app you want to use, whether it's Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Pop, whatever it is, you know that that's your fallback. But every time I use iMessage, I just think iMessage is boring. This how it deals with like communication and stuff. It's nothing nowhere as near as dynamic as WhatsApp. WhatsApp pretty much has statuses like you would do on Snapchat, so many different things, elements as a complete package. So I actually have more fun on WhatsApp compared to iMessage, but I just know it to be the base de facto standard. That's what chat needs to get right. I'm not saying don't worry about the encryption, but they need to just get that basic fundamental right. I love Duo, but like you said, FaceTime is on for the factory, from the factory. So yeah, it's not even just from the factory, right? It's integrated into you when you sign into iCloud, right? For Google, the iCloud equivalent of Google is Gmail. You can't go to the Play Store without a Gmail email address. It should have that same level of integration of, I can't get into the Play Store, I can't get into the Apple App Store without signing into my iCloud. The minute I sign into my iCloud, my FaceTime is activated, my iMessage is activated with my telephone number, so I don't have a choice but to use it. I don't. It's like it's forced me to use it. And it sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually not. You just know that you've got a de facto way to make instant messaging and video calls